All right, let's kick this thing off here. Mic check, mic check. Should be able to now hear, also see the screen, all that kind of good stuff here. Welcome. Mr. Blue here, TradePhantoms.com. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far, trading week, etc., month. Speaking of dates, months, etc., today is going to be Thursday, the 20th of November, 2025. I'll be your guide, your host, really briefly here for about an hour here, a little over an hour, give or take. On YouTube, I'll go through some process, some pre-market prep, etc., kind of set up some things, and then starting with futures, and then take us to the open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and I will certainly deploy some risk on a trading setup if I see one. Important day today. Number one, of course, we also probably know we had NVIDIA earnings. That's a big one there. Spoke about this yesterday in the live trade room with Phantoms, but NVIDIA reported last night, looking good in terms of just their report in general. Not going to spend too much time on it right now. However, NVIDIA closed yesterday 186. So far right now, which is looking good for NVIDIA. Up about 5%. Pre-market quote 196. So we kind of went through some things. I'm not going to harp on this too much, at least for right now. But we went through, this is kind of yesterday's work that we did yesterday in the live trade room. We were going through a couple of strategies, straddles, strangles, bought debits, sold credits, iron condors, iron flies. I ended up doing an iron fly, which I need to kind of stay within an expected range. Don't want to get too fancy here for right now, but my phantoms will know here, some of y'all, if I do go to NVIDIA, I did deploy this here, this iron fly. I know this is iron condor, but I just sold the at the monies. So I did a 185 and I got the wings at 207 above and then 162 below. So I actually widened that out. And so far, this is going to look fairly okay. But I don't know if anybody took this with me, but I got the wings up here. But when this opens, we'll see. I don't want to get too crazy with this, at least for right now. But I need it to be, kind of below that 202 and above the 162. So whatever. It's not about myself there, but maybe some of y'all took advantage of some NVIDIA. If you were bullish, you were right. If you were bearish, you're wrong. If you're kind of sideways, you're slightly wrong, at least for right now. Just a little bit there. We'll see how this kind of unravels. I got Friday's expiration on that. All right, 202 up here. Okay, probably started that off a little bit different than usual, but NVIDIA earnings is a big deal, as NVIDIA is one of the biggest stocks, not only in the US, but just in the world. What's going on, everybody? Did I hear bonus session? What's going on? One out to Theory Bucket. What's going on, Charles? I see Ian here as well. Daniel King, my man YT. Yo, do that. All right, cool. We also have the government open, finally doing their jobs, whatever they do. Seems like they do nothing, but we did have some news come out, and we had the non-farm employment and unemployment claims that did come out, 20 minutes ago, give or take. And they're debating right now whether the Fed is going to cut or not, so on and so forth. As always, we're going to be looking at what the price action and the tape, trading price action is going to do in levels, regardless. So the news is already out, counts is out, and we'll notice in a moment that the futures market is up. And that's what we're going to start for right now, right? So kicking over to Think or Swim. But before I do that, hold on. I got to kind of set the stage here. I bring this up every single day, no matter what. Let's kick it off right here. All right. So I just got a chart of the S&P 500 SPY just in the backdrop right there on the left. And I bring this document up every single morning. So I'll kick this off here. So demand and supply, institutional demand supply, that is the strategy here at Phantoms, of course. Just the way markets work in general, right? Understanding where the true buyers and sellers are. However, we have a heavy focus on what's called top-down multiple time frame analysis approach. So therefore, starting with high time frames to low time frames. So you will see a lot of orange, yellows, and blue color codes, at least just personally on my charts here. Why? I color code these three main time frames. Monthly time frame being the top and the most powerful has a color code of orange. So therefore, anything that you see in orange is the monthly time frame association. October high, October low, VWAPs, etc. Monthly. If it's orange, it's monthly. Weekly is going to get a color code of weekly. Last week's high, last week's low, highlighted there in yellow, so on and so forth. Daily time frame, color code blue. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low on the daily time frame, right? is going to be highlighted in blue. Daily view up is going to be blue, so on and so forth. Color code there. Candlesticks, a bunch of fancy names. People argue about, it's a hammer, it's a bottoming tail. It doesn't matter what the name is. The location, though, how it prints and where the location and context of these candles is more important than anything. Typically, we'd be looking for bullish candlesticks formations in the context of uptrends at demand levels. If you want to put more reliability on these, focus on the higher time frames. Bearish candlesticks, again, a bunch of fancy names. However, location and context being more important. We're going to be looking for these candlestick formations as we approach levels of supply, preferably in the context of a downtrend. And then we get the liquidity map here, super important. We break this down. This is kind of the key. And if you can really break this down in multiple time frame analysis, understanding auto regression, mean reversion, and multiple time frame analysis, okay, you have uptrends in some time frames, you have downtrends in other time frames. It's our job to line up what multiple time frame analysis is doing. 2 actions, buys and sells. Okay. However, 4 possibilities. What do you mean by that? Well, you could buy to enter. That's an accumulation order. And then now at some point you need to sell to exit. Okay. Of course, if you buy to enter, you want the market to go up. You'd sell to exit to take profit at some point. But if you buy to enter and the market goes down, you have to sell to exit to potentially take a loss at some point. Okay. Unless you stay in forever. However, you can still have a sell short enter, right? So we have accumulation and then we have distribution. You also could sell short to enter, which is an accumulation order, okay, of bearish, being bearish, okay, price action. And in which case, then after you sell short to enter to be bearish, you are now a market participant as a buyer, okay, to cover, okay, to exit. And of course, if you did short, you would want the price to go down. So as the price goes down, you'd buy to cover to exit, okay. However, if the market goes up and you sold short and it continues to go up, you want it to go down. If you're wrong on the wrong side of that, you'd have to buy cover to exit as well, right? So you have to put this together. What makes more demand? All right, accumulation of buy orders and also buy covers getting squeezed out. What makes more supply? Selling to exit from longs and also sell short to enters, which is going to have an accumulation of more supply. Now, putting that all together, we need to know where these transactions are going to be happening here, and we spent a lot of time on that there at Phantoms. What we call trade the tape liquidity, kind of New York style of trading there. All right, that's a lot there. So let's get to the good stuff here. Into the actual charts, I will start with the major 4 indexes of futures. Yeah. All right, so I have the S&P futures, that is daily time frame upper left. I got the NASDAQ upper right, Dow Jones lower left, Russell 2000 bottom right. And yes, NASDAQ pulling up here, up 2% pre-market so far. All right, we'll talk about that. So far, one of the stronger ones there, of course, NVIDIA is one of the main wheelhouses in the NASDAQ. It's also in the S&P as well, but NASDAQ is going to be mainly tech. All right, so that's lifting, okay, the technology sector there. So NASDAQ's a bit stronger so far, pre-market prep. We'll break this down. Let me go to the micro ES here, just because it's a bit more cleaner. Go to the micro NQ here. Same thing, NQ, MNQ, but the notes are less insane on these charts here. So popping open the daily time frame of the S&P 500. Okay, daily time frame S&P 500. Boom, pop. We got a nice little pop up. Okay, as we can all see. Going back over here to just going back just a couple days, couple weeks, give or take. We've been talking a lot about this famous October low, this October 10th bar inside that made new high. All right, now we've been kind of just joshing around here, right? So kind of rangy, right? Monthly, weekly, still up. Daily is no longer giving us like higher lows or right. Daily is a bit more arranged now. Okay, so it's kind of what I'm expecting there for Q4 towards the end of the year. So I've been harping a lot on having potentially what could be a beautiful setup, which is still potentially available if this is going to happen. I'm not going to talk about it as much right now, even on YouTube on Tuesday. My Phantoms members too. Yesterday being Wednesday, we hopped a lot on this level here. So y'all can see the prices here: 6,540. We've got a 6,571 in yellow weekly lows. We got October's low, super important, 6,540 below there, right? And I got a couple of daily lows. Okay, with some fresh impulse IBIs right below here. Okay, 65.22, that daily low. I got a 65.10. Okay, down in here as a fresh impulse. Okay, below the October low, below that weekly low, below those daily lows, right into a fresh level of demand. Okay, 65.10. Now, of course, that's all the way down here. I'm not sure if we're going to get that new low. I was kind of hoping over the prior days or two that we kind of flushed out. All right, I was preparing for that, but didn't happen so far, right? It might not happen, right? At least over this week, we'll see. Not sure. So far, yesterday we had an inside day, right? So far we're up, right? But yesterday we had an inside day. We were still trading very nicely yesterday, right? Looking at yesterday, prior day's highs, prior day's lows. All right, we've settled as an inside day, kind of green bar, and we're kind of like following through to the upside. So this location is fairly decent, right? And don't get me wrong, if we're asking about if we're closer to demand and supply, as we were coming down into this area here, we were closer to this demand area. Okay, so we were talking a lot about that just yesterday in the live trade room. Now we're up. So one of the things that we're going to be doing here, just like we do all the time, right? We are going to have yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Okay, so as you can see right now, we're already breaking that, right? So yesterday's high and yesterday's low is here, and this is yesterday's low here. All right, it's also a daily low right there, so can put a pin on that. Actually, matter of fact, let me just do that daily low here. All right, so we got yesterday's high, yesterday's low mapped out there. Now we're already breaking above that, right? Now we have the 20p moving average right here. Okay, great. Okay, that's right there. That's noteworthy. In addition to that, one of the things that helped yesterday was looking at the prior day's highs and lows. Now we're already breaking that, but if I look up and left, we have this Monday. Okay, this is Monday, 11/17, November 17th. This high is 68.01.5. Okay, 680. So I'm going to be looking for that. A break above here. I'm going to talk a little bit about a level of supply right above here real quick, just for a potential liquidity sweep / trap. Right, so this 68.01 is going to be in a potential area for today. I'll show you something here in the small time frames in a moment. If we happen to break that, that's Monday's high. In terms of higher time frames levels, okay, we basically only have this 68.92, which is going to be last week's high up here too. So this is represented by yellow up here. So in the event, right, one of the things that I'm looking at here today or seeing, this could be a trap area where if we break this level, it seems like it's going to go right straight up into here. Might need a little bit of a mean revert, okay, intraday here today, okay. We also have to just be diligent too here. This could be just a bit of a bull trap. So one of the things we have to just watch out for that I'm going to be trying to do my best here to prepare y'all, at least for this morning with the time that I have with y'all. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little sneaky level here. It's going to be at 68.20. Okay, I'll show you that in a moment. 68.20, and that's going to be the area where I'm going to be looking for a nice little, it's called G trap. All right, matter of fact, I could just copy and paste one of these lines here. All right, and I'll break that down in a moment. The image is not clear. Clean your screen. So it looks like it's the restream. Yeah, I see what you're seeing. This restream platform is not great. Mr. Black and I were talking about that. Not 1080 EP. So that's kind of annoying. I get that, Lismo. I think it's Restream, brother. Restream's kind of annoying. All right. Kind of annoying. I get it. So 68.20. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Already kind of inside bar breaking to the upside. Now, higher time frames are still to the upside. Okay. So, it's trying to get lined up to the upside here, potentially. Okay. My fans will know kind of what I'm talking about there. But one of the things I'm just watching out for, just for today, just watching out that we get a little bit too stretched intraday, where we can have a little bit of a mean revert there. I have no problem getting long once that opens. I will switch over to the NASDAQ. Okay, switch over to the NASDAQ. So we got yesterday's high, which is basically almost the same as the prior day high before. Okay, so yesterday's high here, yesterday's low here, right? We have another little daily low right there from the day prior. We're already breaking. We have this Monday's high right here. And we have last week's high, and this is another daily high up here. All right, so again, I'm just mapping out higher time frame, monthly, weekly kind of daily highs here. So a couple of dailies high here, and I'm watching out for right above this level. All right, NASDAQ, we'll get to that in a moment. All right, right above that level. All right, so watch out for a potential little bit of a liquidity sweep around here. So we'll drop down to small time frames right now. So monthly, weekly, daily still up. Okay, we have not broken October low just yet. Kind of inside bar break, kind of coming back into the middle of this range. Now we have some supply, right? Drop, base, drop, etc. above here. So again, just look left. Yes, bull market, bull market, bull market. But as we kind of rally, we have to absorb. Okay, you have to absorb some of the levels above. All right, so we still have some work to do if this market really wanted to potentially take off. We'll switch over to the monthly here, weekly here, daily here. So even if you are on a small time frame or a scalping on a very small time frame, you still need to look at what the higher time frame is doing here, monthly, weekly, daily. Just give you all the lay of the land here. Got a 60-minute time frame here, upper left, 30-minute bottom left, 5-minute here, followed by a 2-minute here. Pop up in the 1-hour time frame here on the S&P futures. All right, and one of the first things that we do is we're going to map out what's called our Globex highs and Globex lows. Stands for overnight high, overnight low. So here is the overnight high, and we're kind of already on highs right now. So as we speak, markets kind of just are trickling higher, higher, and it's making a new Globex high. Now the overnight low is kind of all the way down here, give or take, right? And the actual like 6 p.m. Open as well over here. So you can use this as the Globex low there. Now, if I look at the strategy here, yesterday, below Globex low, I'm looking for an institutional level of demand. If we do look below this Globex low, which is right there, even though price is up there, this is going to be a level of demand below the Globex low. So we could be looking at this level below. We have of course, a drop yesterday. We were kind of, we were doing well yesterday, trading this here, right? And then at the end of the day, we just kind of went into a chop, ding, 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 market closed. NVIDIA earnings came out, pop, right? So that did leave some kind of level, okay, of demand here. Now, is it the greatest formation of level of demand on the planet here? Absolutely not, okay? But is it something below that Globex low? Yes. Would this get a high score in terms of a high quality level of demand? Not quite, right? A lot of time spent there, not great, right, etc. But the good thing that it does have on its, in terms of a scoring process, would be this is at the lower location, okay, of the overall macro higher time frame uptrend. Okay, so we're close to these October lows, weekly lows, etc. So location-wise, this is still fairly low, okay, to where so far, relatively speaking, to where we are overall in the bigger picture. Okay, so that's something there that we could look at. Now, that said, okay, don't take off the radar that we could potentially, it doesn't seem like it wants to this week, give or take, but we could, okay, potentially still swipe that October low. Okay, that could still be on the radar as we kind of rally up and figure out what we want to do above here, right? So now that we are at the Globex high, I'm looking up and left above to look for a quality, high quality, preferably level of supply above to lean against to what's called G-trap short, G-trap shorts. So chasing people, people who are buying highs into highs, okay, above Globex highs, above daily highs, okay, into a level of supply. Now, one of my favorite things to look at is going to be above, all right, for shorting, above monthly, weekly, daily highs. So you have a daily high here. Okay, that's 68.01. That also happens to be this Monday's high. So one of the things I'm looking for is not only breaking a potential Globex high. If I look up and left, we're approaching these kind of weird, kind of crappy levels of supply here that we were kind of mentioning here. Okay, if we look up and left, this is one that is closer to that Monday's high. Okay, so this is one that you could potentially look at as an aggressive G-trap short. Okay, and I say aggressive because one of the things that I'm looking for is a liquidity sweep above this level. Okay, especially playing off the back of, okay, positive NVIDIA earnings, which, by the way, we could just gap up and fade lower, by the way, but we'll see. But if we rally up, this is going to be an area where I'm prepping, where we could potentially have a liquidity sweep. Now, what I'm looking for is right above this level. This is a very obvious level, right? Very obvious level. And you can see, like, if people, regular retail traders, like, oh man, if this level breaks, look at this, we're going all the way back up to the supply level. Okay, so one of the things I'm looking for is to trap those people. Okay, as prices are already rallying up, green bar, up, thinking this market's just going to go rip up. Okay, could potentially trap them right above this level. Furthermore, there's going to be some stop losses placed above here because this is going to be an anchor point where we have this lower low right here, right this lower low level in control here. Blah blah blah. Right above this level, I got a 68.20. There's a drop-based drop right there where the market really kind of kicked off and dropped lower. Right, so I wanted to show you all that here above that high. 68.01. All right. On the smaller time frames, we have this here. All right, this 68, call it 20 handle, 68.19 handle. This is where, to an untrained eye, you might not understand this. NVIDIA. Yes, sir, meme NVIDIA. Recovered NVIDIA yesterday. Got a spread on that. So this is going to be a nice little sweet spot there. And if I show you on the SPY, that was the ES 68.20. If I show you just really quickly, I know I'm kind of rabbit holing all the way over here to the SPYs. This is SPY. Yesterday's high on the daily time frame here. Got a daily high, daily low. Yesterday's high, yesterday low. Gapping up, gapping up. All right, so we have this again Monday the 17th high right there. We also have this kind of Friday the 14th high right here. So daily high as we're gapping up pre-market quote here. So you have one daily high here, a daily high here. Right above there, I circled this. This is the 677 half on the SPY. Okay, and this is where people could potentially get trapped. Okay, so I already have this prepared. Okay, for you folks, right above there. All right, we also have some monthly VWAPs. Okay, kind of hovering around here as well. This is where, again, like I'm mentioning, this is where to an untrained eye you might not understand, right? But this is holding up. Okay, and we have some daily lows here. It was last week, right? I remember, and then this is where we really started to give out. This is where the buyers needed a hold to hold this anchor, and this is where it really dropped out. Okay, that was the official transfer. Okay, of the bids getting offered out here. Okay, and that's where we made that low high. Okay, so now that we're gapping up, we have NVIDIA earnings fell up and left. We have all these levels that are kind of daily highs tested, etc. So today I'm really looking for a trap above here. And again, not a lot of time spent there. That's a fresh level where we really transition, okay, to the downside there. So to an untrained eye, that might not seem relevant, okay, but a ton of stop losses here if we were to potentially rally up. Okay, people get stopped out, all right, chasing people, bullish people taking, chasing price, okay, right into that level right there. Okay, so this is going to be a nice trap area here, and this is going to be the ES, equivalent to the ES equals, what was the price point on that? 68.20. All right, nice G trap. So if long TP here, and then this could be an area where we could what? Longs TP means take profit. And this could also be an area where we could potentially enter bearish. All right, more on that as we kind of go through. All right, now we have this. I'll just clean this up here. These are all kind of. All right, now, albeit we have, Globex high, we're kind of hitting some levels here, albeit, right? So again, I'm just looking for a potential, if we do get that pop, okay, that 68.20 is nice. Now, if you did want to take in a more, if we don't, we might not break this level, right? So if you did want to take an aggressive kind of play here, 6.793 here, of course, there's a rally, there's a base, it's a drop there, super obvious level. The challenge with that is if you put your stop loss right above that level, you're probably going to be the stop loss liquidity of potentially that trap. Okay, so again, I'll be waiting here to see if we can get up into that 68.20 into that SPY 677.5 or whatever that was, right? I put that on the chart there. All right, super key there. That qualifies for a G trap. Moving on to NASDAQ. Try to do this as quickly as I can. Globex low here. I'll do the 6 p.m. right there. All right, Globex high. Here, this is supposed to be Globex low. Typo. Globex high. Now that sneaky level is going to be right here. All right, you can see it dropped right over here. All right, so that equivalent level there in the NASI is going to be in here. So we have to investigate this level here. And see where that drop is, right? So if I go to the 5-minute time frame, for example. All right, there it is. Now Nasdaq's a little stronger. This has been tested, so this might you might want to come up a little bit there to 25, call it 545. 550 could be used for a nice G trap. If long TP, this could be a G trap short. Right above that Globex side daily high. All right, breakdown level. Looking for the nice, that's kind of already been tested there, right? So it's just kind of going up a little bit there, especially with Nasdaq. This can get a little bit more stronger here on the off the back of NVIDIA earnings, right? So decent little G trap short there. All right, nice one there. If we get that now, Globex low, we have this demand level here. We'll see. All right, kind of spoke a little bit about that, etc. Gold kind of going a little bit more rangy. Took a trade on gold yesterday. Monthly, weekly, daily, kind of getting a little choppy there. So we got a line. We're trying to get lined up here. A monthly here, weekly here, daily here. We had rally, we had a drop here. It's kind of getting a little bit rangy here. So gold's kind of hibernating a little bit here, at least for right now. So just be careful with this. We still could be looking at some kind of flush out here. I'm not sure we're going to get that, but still be patient on this thing here. We're just kind of going. We're trying to unravel and unwind here, right? So just kind of price discovery. Still bullish. So I'm still remaining to kind of like sell some puts lower down here in the 350 handle on GLD for an October low sweep. If we get that, doesn't look like it wants to. Just kind of ranging around here. Even last week's weekly close kind of let us know that there's some pushback here, right? So I'm not still shorting gold is not going to be the greatest thing on the planet here. Short-term day trade, give or take, yes, no big deal. But still macro up. But yes, took a loss yesterday on this thing here off a level of a G trap that just ended up just getting stopped out. All right, so kind of ranging gold right now. So just be careful, right? Just be careful. I'd bring your targets lower, right? Be very precise in terms of where you want to attack this thing here, right? So, yesterday's Globex high, Globex low kind of took a level here inside of the Globex, right? It kind of popped out a little bit there, right? I did it on the prop firm. So it took me out a little bit in profit or whatever, right? I showed that, no big deal. Nothing crazy. I made like $50 on or something like that. Nothing crazy at all. But it just kind of like took us out, right? No, it took me out because it was the prop firm. But if you did have that in your personal account and you had your stop loss, you got stopped out. But look at gold; it's just been a mess. Right? Just choppy over the past couple of days, right? But Globex high, Globex low, still do your thing here. We have Globex low there. We have Globex high because if we did wait for the actual Globex trap, we had that level right there, which was good, and that popped out. All right. So again, follow the process, follow the system. Here's the Globex low there today. Oops. Overnight low, overnight high, etc. All right, still context of an overall macro uptrend. First level of demand below the Globex low is going to be this kind of level here. All right, in the event that we do make a new low, there's still just a ton of demand here, kind of getting sloppy, right? So again, I wouldn't put out of the equation if gold does just kind of swipe lower. It could, if it did it very quickly. Doesn't seem like it wants to, but the markets can do anything at any time. Still looking at that October low down in here in the event that it does do one of those things, which I would love. Okay, as a capitulation for a liquidity sweep down there. All right, but so far this is still kind of holding up, trying to crack, right, and trying to get more lined up with the higher time frame here overall, right? So we'll see, a little choppy here. So just be patient with that. VIX, where you at? Volatility index, implied vol. Of the S&P 500. It's got a weekly on the left, got a daily on the right, just real quick, pre-market prep. And so far we got VIX down. Okay, VIX down so far pre-market, pretty significant. We got a VIX drop right down 16%. So we've been elevated, 25 VIX, so on and so forth. Yesterday was VIX expiration for the monthlies. So we got a vol collapse. So VIX down, market up, VIX up, market down. So just think of opposites, right? A lot more to that, but just to keep it simple for right now, there's a whole volatility, is a whole volatility space, right? So for right now, we'll map out the overnight high, overnight low, and just like we did in the S&P, NASDAQ, and gold futures. And kind of what I pin here is, okay, if VIX were to continue to remain down and just continue to grind down or just chill out and sustain its lower pricing for the day, that could be more bullish for the market. Vol down, market up. If the VIX decides to spike up and continue to go up, breaking overnight high and maybe filling this gap here, okay, if VIX up, that could be market down or bearish. So one of the main things that we're going to be looking for intraday, not only intraday trading, but also just overall swing trading in general in market conditions. And I kind of just pinned exactly where I left off, where I saw it last, and I usually just put that kind of in the middle there. So you get VIX low. If that continues, that could be a bit more bullish for the market. Now we have levels that we're approaching, right? We just kind of spoke about. So we'll have to see how VIX responds at around those levels as well, right? So just trust those levels, etc. Can't stress that enough. Moving on to SPYs, we already kind of mentioned a couple of things here and there, right? So I got a weekly on the left, I got a daily on the right, and the again, a couple of weeks now coming into these levels here that we were talking about, and close here, right? And we have a gap up here. Mason, is the futures contract sizing in the portal? I've been on vacation for a bit, but remember where you were working on it. I got this Excel sheet that I'm looking to send out to Phantom support for folks. I don't know if you were talking about this, Mason, but I'm going to send this out. I'll continue to build on it, but it's nothing crazy. But yeah, I'm going to send that out to support. Quick little basic calculator there, if that's what you're asking, Mason. I see you, brother. So we got a gap up here, right? We talked about the couple daily highs here, right? In that level of supply, 66765, right? Now, a couple other things here too is pre-market quote up here, right? So we're in about 11 minutes, market's about to open here, right? And so we're gapping up about 1.6%. And so if I take that to the SPX, implied open, give or take 1.6%, give or take. All right, so let's just say 6,745, 6,750. Okay, it's going to be at or around. Give me 5-7 points grace. Movement over the next 10 minutes, give or take. 67.45, 67.50 implied open. So you can see we're going to be gapping up, outside gap, albeit gapping up into a couple of daily highs, which we just talked about there. Monday's high, a random Friday's high there. We also have this month's VWAP in November kind of hanging over here as well. We have last week's VWAP here hanging over here as well. So there's some stuff here in terms of a mean reversion because we were just down here, now we're gapping up. So again, yes, bull market, right? But we're gapping up into some levels. So again, we could have a little bit of a mean reversion, right? We can gap up and just gap up and just fade and grind all day lower, right? We can gap up and blow out. Okay, we can gap up, but we have a couple levels. Gap up. We have a couple levels where again, we'll see how markets react and respond. We could be trading. We'll trade and see what it is. I'm not going to get too crazy in regard to what is going to happen. I'll trade what is happening, but our prep levels there. Now, also in the SPX, a couple things here. Gapping up implied open 6,745. In a moment, I'm going to get over into this thing called options depth, market maker game exposure. However, I would be remiss if I did not mention that level for that trap. On the SPX, I did it in the S&Ps, I did it in the NASDAQ futures, I even did it in SPY. In SPX, that price is, right, that trap level, this is recorded if I'm going too fast, you can kind of rewind this, is going to be above those daily highs right there in blue, and this is where we have that drop right there. All right, so this right there is where the market's really cracked. If you know, you know. All right, we cracked. So this is, to an untraded eye, doesn't seem significant, okay, but this is the actual drop-based drop that really kicked off. And if you remember a couple weeks ago, the NASDAQ gap down below, outside gap below its monthly VWAP. All right. What is he talking about? Got to stay locked in. This is what, got to stay locked in. All right. And that is right below or right at that 6,800. So SPX 6990 up to the 6800, a little bit above, a little bit below is going to be super key. Okay, and that's going to line up with the S&P higher quality G trap today. All right, so let's make a note of that. So this area here equals the ES, what was it, 68.20, correct? Yes, 68.20. Forex Factory News looks good. Yes, it does. I roll. All right. In addition to that, implied open give or take 6745, 6750. I'm going to go to the options depth here. This is a little heavy advanced here. All right. So we got market maker's perspective in terms of options gamma, calls, green, puts, red, everything to the right are bought, everything to the left are sold from the market maker's perspective. Bought options provide positive gamma. Okay. Sold options provide negative gamma. Right now, if I were to kind of keep it as simple as I possibly can here, because this topic is nowhere near simple. The implied open, as we mentioned, is what going to be 6,745. I'm sorry, 60. Yeah, no, I was right. 6,745, give or take. If I go to 6,745, we're right here. So let me give this a little more space here. All right, 6,745. We're opening here. Now the key thing here is, as we're opening up at 6,745, as I notice here, we have a massive bought call wall on the SPX at 6,745 and 6,750. That's providing what's called positive gamma. Okay, there's blue above here, and there's a lot of blues up here. So even though I had kind of mapped out a G trap above, which would be at or around the 68, 6,790, which by the way, we also have 6,790 key. Okay, that's confluence. 6,790 is a massive positive gamma node there, along with that trap level, which is insane. Okay. However, we got some work to do for the SPX. If it is going to indeed get up or go up, we have this massive bought call wall here. So 6,750, 6,760 is going to be a bit harder to break because that's positive gamma above. So that's going to provide some supply/resistance from market makers' perspective, okay, as they have to hedge. Another key thing here is below price, we have red and yellow. So there's negative, what's called negative GEX or negative gamma below us. So if this market does start to trickle back lower, it could kind of fuel itself. So reds and yellows price can really sift through and go through those regimes. Okay, blues and greens. Okay, on the map, heat map here, it's going to be a bit harder. Okay, to break those levels. So this 6750 off the open. Okay, just because we're gapping up doesn't mean that I'm just going to get long and bullish, right? Okay, news good, whatever, NVIDIA good, but looking under the hood of options data based on market maker gamma, we have massive positive gamma right above that price. So in the event that we do gap, in the event that let's say we do go up, we could get up, we could gap up, drop down a little bit, okay, before it potentially picks up some steam back to the upside. Again, I don't want to go too crazy with hypotheticals. Just know that there's a massive 6750 right above us, right off the open there that we would have to clear. If we do clear that, a little bit of a negative GEX above there at 6770, and then we're into that 6790, which is another massive positive gamma, okay? And we also have the level that's mapped up, that's mapped out there as well, okay? Because that's 6790, that is right there. So this is going to be high confluence here, high confluence or higher probability where there's going to be some nice opportunity. If long, definitely take some profit from bullish or longs. Okay, but not only that, we can also look for some shorts up into this area here. Okay, multiple things line up in that sense. However, we do have this 6750, which is Monday's high. Okay, which is going to also provide some positive gamma. Okay, that could just give us some kind of overhead supply/resistance out the gate. Okay, so I put that in red. It's a positive gamma node. Okay, but we're going to be, we're coming from down here, gapping up to here. So that is going to give us some overhead supply/resistance on that positive gamma node here. If that happens to get above there and reclaim, okay, we remain above here. All right, next we have a daily high there, noteworthy. Okay, and if we flush up, okay, or spike up, we got this, and this will be a beautiful setup. for potentially today. In this particular case, Sebastian, this would be used as supply. This would be used as supply. Because Sebastian asks, is the bot call wall support? So what's happening here is the customers sold calls at 67.50, right? Now market makers taking the other side of that, right? Not of all the positions, but sometimes they have overlay, so they're taking the opposite side of that. So they have their bought calls. So market makers have to buy those calls, and they're bought at 67.50 over to the right side. So up here we have market maker gamma to the left, to the upper left, but down here we have the customer profile. So if you notice the 67.50, these are sold calls, okay, which is making the market maker bought call. So market maker bought call is positive gamma, and if positive gamma is up here, okay, at 67.50, and we're trading below it, because let's say we're trading 67, 25, 67.90, right? We're coming up here, right, 67.30. As we come up into that positive gamma, that is going to provide supply / resistance, okay, because that's positive gamma. Now below us we have negative gamma, so there's not much support there, because as price goes down, market makers are going to have to sell into that downward move. Okay, so the risk today is going to be as we gap up. Okay, if we can't reclaim back up above here and we start to trickle back down, market makers have to sell into those down moves. Okay, it's an advanced concept, but yes, it's going to provide some resistance there, at least off the open of a daily liquidity sweep here. All right, and if we do happen to hold up here, the next one is going to be 67.90, and then 67.90 is even better because not only is it a positive gamma node, we also have a couple of other things lined up in terms of traps, etc. Now, right out the gate, we have to be cautious of this because we are gapping up into some daily highs, okay? And we do have monthly VWAP there of this week, of month of November, okay? So November, we have a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. On November, we were down here. Now we're all the way back up here very quickly, okay? Relatively speaking, all right? And again, back in mid kind of range from the all-time high down to, the October low. So far, the November low is there. And we're back in the middle here. So again, we're kind of doing a mean reversion. All right, so there's the bell. Opening up right into that, switch out over to the daily over here to the left, put a 2 over here to the right. All right, I got my NVIDIA earnings spread here. Nice. I sold these for 12.03. They're going for 10, but nothing too crazy there. I do have 20 contracts on, which is not so crazy, but I'm going to take a couple off here real quick. Hold on. Apologies for this. Give me 40 seconds here. Then Iron Fly. All right, so these are up a couple points here. I'm not getting all out and by any stretch of the means, but all right, just took some out there. All right, I did an Iron Fly. I don't have enough time to just mention that right now. We talked about that. I spoke about that in the trade view yesterday. I get a quick peek at internals. VIX obviously got that. Now, advanced declines up at an extreme, actually. Positive or negative 2,000 is extreme. That's important to note. See if that remains that way. Vol D volume up versus down. NYSE, New York Stock Exchange up. Extreme positive 3. So we're at extremes right now. So interesting. Update this. You can see NASDAQ struggling a little bit. Just on the opening print there. NVIDIA gap up, fade down lower. Actually needed to come down with more in mid-range, which would be good. If you got long NVIDIA and you nailed it, TP, some I would suggest at least, realize gains. This is taking way too long. Tesla Pro gap up. Tesla has Pro gap up. It had a nice rip yesterday on Tessie. All right, Qs are not really in a level here. But even though Qs are a bit more stronger pre-market, it's really not anymore. All right, so we can get. I'm gonna grab some Q puts here just to kick off the morning here. QQQ puts, which would be bearish off this level here. Let me see. We're trading 610 half. All right, now if this doesn't fall through, that will give me a good stance on the day so far. But if I pick up the, let's see, like a 30 delta, 35 delta on some Qs, remember I'm still waiting for that level above. Come on, take this one. Come on. Tesla's looking good, pro gap up. I think this one is just completely frozen. Come on, man. See, QQQ's trying to get this thing going here. Restream is annoying. 611. So if I pick up like a 30 delta, give or take. Well, it's like still like the 608 strike put. Or 607. All right, so I'll do a 607 strike put. This would be QQQs, which would be NASDAQ. And if you buy a put, that would be bearish. All right. And right now, this 607, which is about like a 25, 30 delta, these are going for about $1.20. So we can take a low risk on this. I just want to check what the NAS futures are doing. Tesla about to hit a weekly high there. We're still above weekly VWAP on futures. So this is kind of going in the grain here. So just take a low risk entry here for $1.17. I'm not going to let this thing get too crazy on us here. Okay. So I'll lock in this 607 QQ put. I got my eyes on this thing here. Keep it low risk for now. 607, so kind of out of the money on those. All right, we'll get started here. All right. Long put, which would be bearish. Got a couple daily highs here, so we have to just watch out for a sweep. All right, so red or sells, bought put. I'll fill in the notes later. Meta. Oh man, I got my eyes on this. Nice. Meta Pro gap up. You got some space here for this. Meta has bullish setup here. IBM, love it, but the spread on options is annoying. I love that stock though. It's in the folio. It's in the long-term folio. What is this? This is Meta. Decent setup. Meta's been beat up out of FANG so far a little bit here, but right now we have enough room to get potentially get up to that 608 pop. If you picked up a 610 strike, it's going now. It's already going. Right, so yeah, looking good. So I mean, Meta want to be, but the 608 is going to be a target there. So I'm a little late to that because the positive CRG just came in about like maybe a minute ago, but nothing too crazy. But you could potentially pick up something here. 365. What is this? The 610 strike. All right. All right. So I got a 390 long call. 390 fill the premium here. Meta. I gotta take this trade this a little aggressively on this because it's this daily high here. It's not yesterday's high, but it's a daily high. We got last week's view up here. So bullish. We'll see if we get some TPs. This will at least be a target one, right? TP1. You can see the S&Ps and NASDAQ just kind of joshing around there. The mags are getting a little heavier there. Yeah, TP Tesla. Good job, Tony Davis. Good job, brother. Walmart. Apple doing its thing. Slow, but slow and steady wins the race sometimes, right? Equal weighted is up. So what's crazy about this is, yes, NVIDIA is up for FANG, but all the other stocks are up, but the mags are not as strong. NVIDIA is pulling up most of the FANGs. But all right, so we got some Q puts, Meta calls, the QQQ. I mean, we just did make a kind of new low on day, albeit very tiny one, and it just got taken away. But these are trying to go there. I mean, they're up a little bit if you wanted to TP some. I just kind of give them back. What's the fix doing? Meta's at VWAP. If you wanted to add, that would be the time to do now. All the fix, nothing crazy. All right, I'll add to Meta here. I'm gonna add to Meta. Same strike. Keep it simple. See what we can get here. All right. 330. All right, just make sure you got your TPs up here, okay? I'm gonna put some limit orders up here to TP. This is the Meta on call. S&P's NASDAQ just still trying to kind of unravel its opening day's range there, if you will. First 15 minutes, definitely not Tesla. Woo, nice. Make sure you got some TPs here. Especially something on especially a stock like Meta. So we got positive COG. I see you, Jason. The only thing is it's inside of it's still kind of inside of the opening block print, so less reliable. I hear you. I see what you're looking at, but right now, if you really look at it overall, we're just first 15 minutes is now in opening day's range. So like we have to just wait now. You know what I mean? Because it's positive and negative COG all over the place at the moment. All right. Took a couple of moments there to put some TPs up here, about 420. Ish. All right, on Meta. Tesla. Nice pro gap, clear gap up, clearing gap up. So move TP there would be nice. Now per COG on now Jason's thing, he's correct in that, right? The one thing that can help here too is go to futures, right? Because we have the opening day's range, but you can see futures is still holding above its daily VWAP. All right. Now I got some low risk on QQQs. Now we got SPYs trying to break. Now SPYs, ironically, are having a better formation here, right? So starting to get a little pop here. I can get some SPYs. Try to work some SPYs. All right. So I get long some SPYs. And those Q puts. Oh man, sorry, a minute. This looks like a TP. Tesla new high. The SPY's trading 74 half. So if I go same thing, like a 30 delta, 38 delta, give or take. I'm still gonna hold on to those Q puts just for a little bit, but I'll work low delta SPYs at least for right now. I'll pick up a 30 delta 677. It's gonna be kind of out there right now. So I'll put SPYs here. So it's gonna be a low delta risk on SPY. Kind of annoying at the moment right now, but what's this? The 677 strike call. More SPYs. Six, seven, seven. All right, keeping it extremely low risk. All right, Meta's trying to do something there. I've got TP some Meta. I'm just keeping everything fairly low risk here. All right, gotta hit Meta here. Tesla looking decent, looking good too there. If you want to go to take profit campaign there. All right, so you gotta hit this. I'm gonna TP some Meta. Nothing saying here, but we got something. SPYs and Qs still trying to do their thing. All right, TP, right? AVGO trying to break through. Time going by is good on a video. Just make sure you're taking some profit on some Meta here. AVGO trying to follow through their Apple looking beaut. Apple, which is a textbook setup. Wow. This is textbook. Textbook, monthly, weekly, daily, wide range bar, hold up at third, positive CUG, follow through. What? Nice. On a shitty range on daily. Nice range though. No, I can't really understand. If you ever want to know how impulse correction segments work out in previous retests work, Apple's a good case study on that. Monthly highs, break, retest. March high, monthly high, break, retest. All-time high, break, retest. Crazy. Textbook stair step. Apple, smooth. So we got AVGO making new highs if anybody tagged that. All right, and check this out. All the excitement with NVIDIA and news coming out as indexes are not really ripping that much, at least at the moment. Be patient. Be patient. Looks like these bot puts on Qs will probably going to be getting stopped out. AVGO FNTP, so a nice little fall through there. Yeah, Bob, literally it's just like literally Apple on the higher time frame, literally on monthlies break, like retest. Well, it's like retesting on the side, like holding. Beautiful, beautiful stair step. Doesn't always happen like that though, but nice case study there. Monthly time frames, monthly and weeklies. AVGO, nice little TP tag if you snag this. Nice follow through. Mr. Easy Google trade yesterday. How's this? NVIDIA is trading 195 half. Need this thing to stay within its range on the vid. Yeah, Tesla, AVGO, Apple. So the top dogs in here so far. All right, so I'm going to cut these Qs here, right? Got to cut the Qs. All right. So I don't know if anybody took some profit on these. These were very slightly profitable, nothing crazy there, but we got to cut these. I got to cut them, right? Cut. Got the spies. Tesla so bullishness is following through slightly for right now. So Q's out. All right, starting to snap a little bit to the upside there. We got Tesla if NTP. We got Google actually breaking out opening day's range. And even the longs are bullish, at least right now. Indexes are not super strong. So, man, this is knowing in indexes at the moment. Should TP, got to TP some meta. Make sure you TP some longs. Messing with NASDAQ. I just missed my chance to grab some meta here. Annoying tape. So didn't TP here. Should have. No big deal. I mean, this is. I'm not missing an insane move. I'm actually hoping that this thing kind of opens up so we can get some levels and setups. But I ended up just cutting out here, right? Just so it stops out, right? All right. Even the bullish, so far, even the longs are not super awesome. There you go, Anthony. Good job, brother. All right, and longs, S&Ps, nothing crazy, but Tesla new high, AVGO, some of the best. Microsoft basing for a break potentially. I messed up Meta. Not messed up, but TP enough there. All right. So make sure you cut out of some that is going against me now on that and TP. So these spies up. TP ready. TP some spies. On a pop. Indexes are a grind at the moment. It was not a very enthusiastic TP. Tesla new high. Small. See if we can get some more on that. So Meta pulled back on me here. This is supposed to be TPs more up here. So hopefully I'll do better than on that. At least Tesla on doing its thing. Small TP there. We'll see if we can continue. We got a next daily high here. Right, so make sure you get some TPs up into this area here. I messed up. It's important to make sure you TP appropriately because I just got myself into nothing crazy, but a little bit of a pickle there on Meta. I should have dumped some more size there when I had mentioned it to myself. You can see this bullishness is not super enthusiastic either, right? So be patient on this. So I would love for that setup to kind of go through. Because as crazy as it sounds, this is not super strong here. This thing cleaned up pretty nice. So look at this negative gex below. Crazy. So right here, 6780. That 6785 is going to be a potential attraction to the market. So this is setting up beautifully. If we can try to get up, if the SPX can get up into the 6780, 90-ish, man, that's going to be lined up with so many confluences, man. Should even charm. It's suppressive up here. So in English, if it happens, God, would this be awesome? Because it's setting up beautifully for this. So I was getting so excited for the October low sweep setup. Now I'm getting excited about this, at least for today. Up here, if we can get up into this level, risk, I'm putting some risk on. All right, now for some Phantoms members, I know we have the team in there, right? We have a WhatsApp group and all that kind of stuff, communications community, right? So I'm sure they'll keep you in tune with the changes, if there is any, in the heat map. All right, but we have negative gex below us, folks. So if this, it's a long day. It's a long day. Is negative gex below us. So I'm not just going to say that this market's just going to, we got Nvidia up on it on decent earnings there, right? So I'm not saying we're going to crash, etc. But that would be nice, and I would almost want it to, for the setup, I would almost want it to get up there fast, quickly, almost climactic there, if you will, stretched / exhausted, for at least at a minimum, a quick mean revert. But we might not get up there, right? We have this next daily high here. So just gotta be patient. But until then, if we're above VWAP, etc., you could try to work, all other things being equal, try to work front side here. The crazy thing about this is, why is this thing being weird? The NASDAQ is still one of the, it's stronger than the S&P, so it really should be working strength, weakness a lot better. I still don't really trust this rally as much. A lot of overhead stuff here. Yeah, so Meta, I messed up my TP on this. Should have did another round of dump there. I have no problem getting back into QQQ puts, but yeah, I kind of messed this up. Hopefully you're all okay, Meta. I messed up Meta a little bit there. You gotta hit that button. I got some work to do there. And because I had TPs and I can't send that out, so I gotta cancel the TPs. Now I gotta close this out. But this is kind of annoying. So I got some work to do there. I might have to just re-engage those QQQ puts, man. All right, that's a meta fuck up. That's my fault. Yeah, it's choppy right now, Joseph, man. You gotta adapt, brother. You gotta adapt. It's fucking choppy right now, brother. You gotta adapt. You gotta adapt. I don't right. I'm gonna have to cut these spot calls and right. So it's choppy right now, man. It's choppy. At least for right now, it's not really much falter, right? But they have these daily highs here. So what we talked about in the pre-market prep is like happening not to the upper level there, but we have these daily highs here, sweeps, etc. So it's choppy right now, right? But I might have to just engage if the sellers are going to pop up and show up. I want one side to prevail. I don't care which way it goes, right? So I want one side to prevail. All right. So, right, we got a 30-minute bar print. This is actually what I should be looking at. All right, so the first 8 minutes into this is already given up all of that bar right there on the first 30-minute bar print. All right, now I see what you're saying now. NASDAQ is a bit more stronger, where you might be looking at some SPY puts. I hear what you're saying on that, right? So yeah, you get maybe some SPY or some Q puts. Now SPY is a bit more weaker, right? Now I have a couple of SPY calls here that I'm still in, right? Now these are getting faded here. So you can just kind of wait for it to really unravel and develop. How would you do that with Phantoms? But yeah, you might want to begin to leg in. That 30-minute bar is interesting on the first 8 minutes in. All right, so keeping everything low delta. So if we were to get some SPY puts, no, Joseph. I didn't take it as criticism. In fact, I love criticism. I love constructive criticism. You have to learn how to have constructive criticism. I wasn't taking it that way at all. But yes, you are correct, right? Where if SPYs are weaker, you can kind of work a bit more of the SPYs. I guess it's weaker. So this 5-minute bar print is going to be pretty nice there. If this were to close in about a minute, we have this at least this bar to kind of lean against. So we're trading 73s. So if I go, good job, Joseph. If I go here, '71s would be 30 delta, give or take. Now the challenge with this is going to be, could we continue to remain in range, team? Yes, right. I put the puts over here. So again, if you're going to be trading this opening print here still that we're still in, it can be a bit choppy and it can be a bit frustrating, or you could just wait for it to somewhat unravel and show a side. Kind of annoying where it's it just would have been so much better if we're trying actually breaking above some daily highs, etc. Daniel King is mentioning this positive gamma node here. So choppy chop. So you can always keep position sizing. So I'm going to lock into these 671 strike puts. I'll straddle this for right now. Anything you do, I would suggest to keep your size smaller. And then if and when, I don't know, we could just remain sharp all day. But if and when we do kind of unravel, my Phantoms members will know how to trade bars, bar by bar. Then you can begin to maybe press a bit of size once markets kind of show some kind of bigger move one way or the other. What's this SPY? Right, so middle range. Market's a little heavy. NVIDIA good earnings. Jobs data came out. Bull bear fight. And we're in the middle of that at the moment. Off all-time highs, off October, off November lows so far. We're trading at or around the 20 period moving average on the daily. So just that alone Just that alone will let you know. All right, nice smooth trend up, high, 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 low. All right, now we have a bit of a range here. All right, so that's what Pinsky is mentioning here in terms of location. All right, so you have to know that. So today's a day where, as a professional trader, you have to take your until further notice, you have to take your foot off the gas pedal, right? You trying to trade more and up, down, up, down, up, down is only gonna chop you up. Then typically you'll miss the move, right? If it does wait, what if this market makes a nice move 3 hours from now, right? And you got chopped up and you throw the towel in, you give up, and then unravels, right? Almost does exactly what you maybe thought it was going to potentially do, right? So you just gotta be patient on it. You gotta be patient on it. All right, so just chill with it, at least for right now, right? And if you do take some risk, I just grab some, just keep it low, keep the size small, okay? Low delta, right? Like right now, I got a little calls on, got a little bit of puts on, and all right, if one side kind of unravels, the risk is if it kind of just chops up and fucks around, right? But if one side kind of works out, I'll cut that one. If we're starting to get some unravel up and or down, it could be easy, right? Go back up, hit that positive gamma node at that G trap, and boom. I don't have to say shit no more, right? Because we get the setup. All right, but right now we're in the middle. We're diddling, right? So if you want to take a trade, it's going to be I'd say tread water lightly at first. Let this thing unravel, and then you can begin to potentially press. If you can wait another 15 minutes and see if this 30-minute bar can close a negative COG there, which will give a topping tail off of these, and at least that 60-minute and 30-minute time frame will give you some kind of potential for some unravel to the downside. All right, but being bearish is also counter trend of the overall higher time frame here, because as we're rebalancing on the 20-pair moving average. So unfortunately, yes, it's kind of like one of those things where I hate to say it, but it can kind of go anywhere here. I kind of hate to say that. Powers to be up, right? But we're in the middle of this new low segment here, so dropping down a little bit. This entire week's been wait and see. No, it's actually been pretty decent. Been pretty decent. All right, folks, I'm gonna head out. Hopefully, y'all did okay. NVIDIA, yep, up. I'm not sure if anybody took that trade. Looking good here. I got to close out some more there. Collecting some premium, but I got time on my side on these. Coming back low range, and as time goes by and the NVIDIA doesn't break above the 202, this will just continue to grind out with premium. Yeah, William, they got those daily highs there. I was hoping for at least one or two more, right? Well, William, didn't quite get it. So again, we're not doing really much right now, as it seems. Right now, we're breaking down a little bit below VWAP. We'll see if that continues. Yes, sir. But I gotta go take a piss, and I gotta go. If you want to learn a little bit more about this was not the most exciting open here. Go to TradePhantoms.com. Register, all that kind of good stuff. You'll get sent to a link here, and today, actually, right, 20th of November, 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you would like to register, name, email, click on that button there, register. Mr. Black, Mr. Green, host, about 90 minutes, give or take. Here's an agenda, syllabus. Y'all can read this. All professionals here, multi-direction, up, down, sideways. If you're just starting out, smaller account, all the way up to larger accounts, managing some wealth and retirement. Everything in the middle there, one-stop shop, not just stocks, futures, forex, even options, even crypto, I should say, as well. Love me some crypto. IBIT, continuing to just accumulate IBIT shares, next stop, Bitcoin, potentially 84K. So we do talk about not just stocks, options, futures, forex, but also crypto as well. But if you like it, great, cool. Join the team. We're real traders, real people, and we're looking for serious people that are take this serious and are seriously trying to improve. If that's not you, that's okay. We're not for everybody, and everybody's not for us. That said, trade safe, be patient, let the markets come to you. Be patient, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all. See some of y'all later tomorrow morning. Live trade room for Phantoms. God bless. Take care. Blue out.